Hey everyone, what's up? So I'm talking about something that happened a while back. I think this has been like a few months ago or something. Damien Skyfire made a video on it. I would recommend you check it out. But this was something that happened on Reddit, um, which was they banned the term groomer under the explanation that it's an anti-LGBT slur. So I have a bunch of different thoughts about this. But number one, I think it's important to define, what we mean by groomer in this context. Now, groomer can mean, a bunch of different things. I mean, you could be talking about like someone who, like a veterinarian, for example, like someone who works with animals. Like maybe they're an actual groomer. Maybe they like groom the hair or whatever. The dogs groom hair on dogs or whatever, or they're just like a barber. They groom hair. That's one definition. But obviously, in this context, when we're talking about groomer, we're talking about adults who are preying on children. Now, it doesn't always necessarily have to be exclusive to pedophilia. It can apply to people who are it can really just be another word for manipulative. So you could have a situation where an adult is grooming another adult to think a certain way or have certain opinions or to act a certain way. It can mean that as well. But again, in this context, we are talking about groomers in the terms of, again, grown adults who are preying upon the minds of naive children. And children have this is common sense, but and when I say children, I'm talking about like 12 and under. Although this could certainly apply to teenagers as well, but yeah, in this context, I'm talking about 12 and under. And again, like I was saying, it's common sense to know that children have very malleable minds. Children are very impressionable, and I think, not think, but the reason that groomer was being thrown around was in the wake of all the drag queen shit. So there was that whole thing about drag your kids to Pride, where parents were taking their kids to drag queen shows. And I've talked about this topic a few times, but I don't care what you say. I don't care what argument you make. You can say that drag is an art form. It's not inherently sexual. Bullshit. Fuck off. Of course it's inherently sexual. That's why do you think that Toddlers and Tears was so controversial? Because they were basically, again, that's another instance of grooming. They were grooming those kids into basically being like these, miniature drag queens, essentially. I know it was technically a beauty pageant, but they were putting makeup on these 3-4-year-old girls, putting makeup on them and doing all this shit, and it was disgusting. And I think this is where the groomer stuff has been being thrown about, because in a sense it is grooming. If you're taking your young kid, again, under the age of 12, and again, like I said, it can be just as bad if it's a teenager, if it's a 13 or 14-year-old, but like 12 and under to these drag queen shows. Now, drag queens, again, they wear the makeup, they'll wear certain types of clothing and stuff to accentuate certain parts of the body, to accentuate their looks and all that stuff. So to say that it's not, at least in some sense, sensual is just absolute horseshit. And I don't care what argument you make. It's not an appropriate setting for children. Like, there's no reason for a child to be at a drag queen show, or at a bar with drag queens or whatever, or children in drag or whatever it is. And the opposition would probably be like, well, why does it matter? Why is it such a big deal? Why are you making such a big deal about it? And my response would be, well, why is it necessary? Like, why is it absolutely necessary that these kids be at these drag queen shows, Why not just let kids be kids and let them go outside and play, or get on, or get online, get on Steam. I don't know. Whatever the fuck kids do these days. I don't know. I feel fucking old at this point. But I don't know. When I was a kid, I was outside playing all the time. I played video games too, but I mean that's what I did. Nowadays, whatever. I feel like I sound like such a boomer right now. But yeah, just let kids be kids. Like I don't care what you say. You can't tell me that a kid is going to go to their parent and say, "Oh, let's go to the local drag queen show." Like you can't tell me that. The only reason they're being brought there is because their parents are making them go, or if their parents have again groomed them into the idea of going to drag queen shows. So I think it was in the wake of all of this that grooming was being thrown around, the word groomer. And probably to do with the Pride parades too, because last year the whole debate was the kink at Pride thing, which I am also completely and totally against. And I think that arguing that it should be at Pride does way more damage and harm to the LGBT and its already bad reputation that's starting to develop. Your kinks and the stuff that you do in your bedroom should stay in your bedroom. You don't need to be doing it out in public. You don't need to be doing it out in public, you freak. Keep it in the bedroom. Like, stop being a degenerate. But, so, anyways, I've gotten way off topic, I know. But the whole groomer thing, it being an anti-LGBT slur, obviously, no, it's not an anti-LGBT slur. And groomer itself is not a slur. Again, in this context, if you are a groomer, you are a fucking groomer. It doesn't matter whether you are straight, gay, bisexual, whatever. It doesn't matter. If you are a groomer, you are a groomer. If you're a predator, you're a predator. It doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is or what your gender is. And to me, in the wake of this, the entire LGBT, community, organization, movement, whatever you want to call it at this point, they should all be up in arms about this and just calling this out for the bullshit that it is. Every subsection of the LGBT needs to be up in arms about this and calling, arguing against the censorship of this word. But of course, and I know that there are probably parts of the LGBT that have spoken up against it, but as we all know, more and more, the LGBT is a bunch of spineless cowards. I feel no shame in saying that. I mean, it's just a bunch of fucking cowards. And in trying to classify groomer as an anti-LGBT slur, the thing that really pisses me off and frustrates me the most is that by doing that, you're validating all of the stigma and all of the fear-mongering, that has went against, gay people and bisexual people and trans people for decades and decades and decades. All the bad stereotypes, all the everything. The Pat Robertsons of the world are saying, see, I told you so. Didn't I say this? And it's so disheartening. And it goes beyond, the groomer thing. It's the kink at Pride thing that I mentioned. It's this community that is doing nothing to improve their reputation. It's like they're trying to validate and prove like all of the shit that has been said about again everyone that falls under this community, all the shit that's been said about them for again decades and decades and decades, while they were fighting for rights. It reflects badly on it as a whole. You got people like me, gay people like me who are just trying to live my fucking life. You know, I'm in a relationship. I've got a place of my own. I'm living with Zach, my partner. And I'm just living life. I'm going about my life. You know, I'm not making my sexual orientation the focal point of my personality or my life. It's a part of my life. It's part of who I am, but it doesn't define who I am. And again, I'm going about my life. I'm living my life. I've got hobbies. I've got friends that I hang out with. It is what it is. And then you've got all these other people out here who are, you know, and again, I understand that to a big extent it's, you know, really the fringe minority. But again, the fringe minority tends to be the loudest. And these people who are acting like freaks at pride parades, you know, they also aren't doing anything, you know, to they're not doing anything to disprove this opinion, stigma that, you know, LGBT people are, you know, creepy, or that they want to, you know, indoctrinate people and kids and whatnot. Not saying that is happening, but I'm just saying that, you know, the behavior that is exhibited at some of these pride parades isn't helping anything, you know. But yeah, it's frustrating. And again, with the whole groomer thing, everyone who has any investment in the LGBT or in this at all, they should all be, again, outraged and speaking up against this. But like I said, if you're a groomer, then you're a groomer. If you are a predator, then you're a predator. Again, it doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is or your gender is. It's not a slur, and it certainly isn't an anti-LGBT slur. But with the drag queen stuff, that, again, it doesn't seem like, again, whatever you want to call it, the LGBT community, movement, organization, whatever, they aren't really doing a whole hell of a lot to speak out against it. And actually, with drag queen stuff, I don't think that virtually, like, many at all are speaking up against it. I mean, some are, but a lot aren't, because they're afraid of what it might do to their reputation, or that they might lose friends over it, or they might be accused of being all sorts of things. And again, it's disheartening. So, you know, I know that I kind of went all over the place with this video, but I might do another video about the LGBT in general and what my thoughts are on it and why I don't tend to associate with it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. You know, let me know what you guys think about this. I know it's an old topic at this point, but, you know, I guess better late than never. So, peace, and you guys have a good day.